Welcome to our Revolution Florida statewide call. We're just going to be starting in 1 second. I'm going to hand it to Ricardo real quick.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our call, a statewide call. Be sure to drop your name and where you're from in the chat. We'll be starting in just a few moments. And we have an incredible lineup tonight. We have Florida State Representative Eskamani, Commissioner Jack Porter from Tallahassee. We have a candidate for City Council in St. Petersburg, Mr. Richie Floyd, and they'll all be joining us for an in-depth conversation on the state of affairs in Florida, and you do not want to miss this, so stick around. And again, remember to drop your name and where you're from in the chat. I see we have Drew Martin from Palm Beach County. Hey, Drew, how are you? We got Jen from here in Orlando. Hi, Jen, I know her. And Elizabeth Atlee Hall from DeLand, which is in Volusia County. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're going to get started in just a few moments. For those just now joining us, as I mentioned, we have a fantastic lineup. We have State Representative Eskamani, we have Commissioner Jack Porter, and we have a candidate for City Council in St. Petersburg, Mr. Richie Floyd. All right, so in the chat, we have Marixa in Miami. Hi, Marixa, how are you? Oh, Leslie Klein, how are you? That's my friend. Hi, Leslie. We got Christine in Lake Worth. What else? We have Susan Goodman from Coral Springs. All right. So we're going to get started in just a minute or so. Hey, Leslie. So again, for those just now joining us, we have State Representative Eskamani on the call tonight. We have Commissioner Jack Porter in Tallahassee, and we have a candidate for City Council in St. Petersburg, Mr. Richie Floyd, and they will be joining us for an in-depth conversation on the state of affairs in Florida. And you don't want to miss this, so stick around, and we'll be starting in just a moment. And again, if you have any questions for our guests or would like to sign up to volunteer or donate, please let us know in the Zoom Q&A or in the comments on Facebook. Hello, I see we have David Wilcox here in Keystone Heights. And Elizabeth. Hi, Elizabeth. All right. So our 2021 membership drive is going on now. And throughout the month of February, we ask that you consider joining our revolution as a sustaining member for as little as $5 or more a month. You can sign up at the link in the chat or go to rrev.us/2021 member. For those listening on the phones, dial *3 to volunteer and contribute. And we're going to post the link in the chat as well, of course. All right, so we're about to get started now. I will now pass it along to Corrine Daly from Our Revolution Florida to get this call started. Thanks again for having me, and I will truly be excited for this discussion this evening. Take it away, Corrine.
Awesome. Thank you, Ricardo. I love sharing a stage, I guess, or a Zoom stage at this point with you. So welcome everyone to Our Revolution Florida statewide 2021 kickoff call. Last month, we were able to do a hosted debate for the FDP chair. So we're officially making this February call our kickoff call for the year. We are in the fight of our lives, right? Our governor has poor COVID response and relief. He has a fascist bill that is harming our constitutional rights. Black History Month is a month where we are supposed to be able to honor our brothers and sisters with representation, identity, and diversity. Unfortunately, we weren't so lucky. We didn't really win all up and down the ballot. So that's why this year in 2021, we are going to continue to work for these progressive issues and progressive policies. You know, we've won up and down the ballot for progressive policies and candidates, even within our local DECs or Democratic Executive Committees. Let's celebrate some of our victories, but also get ready for this uphill battle that awaits Florida in 2021. We will be talking to Representative Anna Eskamani, Commissioner Jack Porter of Tallahassee, and as well as candidate Richie Floyd for St. Petersburg's City Council. In the state of Florida, we actually have a couple things or three things specifically. We need to hold Publix accountable. It's the largest grocery store in the state, and they are in support of the insurrection on January 6th of 2021, and have been making donations, quite frankly, to our governor and his fascist ideas. So we also need to oppose House Bill 1, Senate Bill 484, because that's actually that's DeSantis. He started out with propaganda and it went all the way through legislation. So we have been watching that closely. There's an upcoming in-person action that's actually happening in Tallahassee on March 2nd that is put together by some amazing comrades all over the state. I hope you will be there and show your support or share the graphic and things of that nature. We also must make sure that SJR 854 is not passed in this year's session. This bill is proposing an amendment to the statewide constitution after we just got Amendment 2 passed to authorize the legislator to provide a reduced minimum wage rate for prisoners in the state correctional system, which, you know, everybody that's in Florida knows we are the #1 in incarceration and private prisons. So it's also going to affect the employees convicted of a felony, which we just did 4 years ago with Amendment 4, with the felons' rights restored. So for employees also under the age of 21 years of age and other hard to hire employees, which we don't even want to get into what that exactly means, but we must stand strongly on these things. We are at a critical moment for our movement. As the chair of the Senate Budget Committee, Bernie is on the inside fighting for $15 an hour and other progressive policies. But he needs our help to fight from the outside. Change comes from the bottom up, and that is why we are building a strong movement made up of a national network of local organizers and support local groups, just like every single person that's on this call. That's where you come in. Our revolution doesn't take money from corporations and billionaires. We rely on solely small, movement builders, people like you and I who are buying into this progressive work. And for just $5 a month or more, we will send you a movement builder membership card featuring the original art by renowned illustrator and Our Revolution national leader, Laura Rawling. Look at how cute that card is. So become a card-carrying revolutionary. Like I said, there's no such thing as a small donation. So if you can afford $5 a month, that would be great. If you can afford more, amazing. And we are going to be able to join as a sustaining member to help us carry out our 4-point plan to win a progressive America in 2021.
All right, Corinne, thank you so much. Corinne Daly, state organizer in Florida. And hello, Florida. My name is Anna Martavishki. I'm a regional organizer with Our Revolution, and I organize in a couple of states, among them in Florida. I'm so happy to be with you tonight. This is an amazing call. We have a great lineup. And as Corinne mentioned, we have a 4-point plan that Our Revolution is carrying out in 2021. It's a strategic plan. Point 1 in our 4-point plan is holding President Biden and Congress accountable. Democrats have a majority in Congress. We also have the White House. That means that we have a unique opportunity to make real progress, but we need all of you to be able to keep the pressure on. Number one in our 4-point plan, as I said, holding Biden accountable. Thanks to our movement, we are seeing results with this point in our 4-point plan. Last week, President Biden sent out an encouraging tweet saying that we need to go big on the COVID relief package, and we couldn't agree more. Our revolution with all of you has been calling on Joe Biden to go big, keep that promise, and use his presidential authority to get things done, because that's what we need. The pressure is working. He has signed, as you well know, nearly 50 executive actions, including ones addressing racial justice, climate change, immigration, raising the minimum wage to 15 for federal contract workers, pausing student debt payments. This is a good start. He has even adopted parts of the Green New Deal. Again, a good start, but it's not enough. We need him to do more. We are calling on him to do more. For example, instead of just pausing student debt, we need him to cancel student debt. We need him to cancel $50,000 worth of student debt. We are holding Congress accountable as a group, as an organization, and we are calling on Senate and House Democratic leaders to keep the $15 minimum wage in the COVID relief package. Corinne?
Yes, and so we are also pushing Democrats in the Senate to end the filibuster, because if we don't fix our broken Senate, we won't be able to get any of our policies through. Even after a solid case was made by House impeachment managers, and in spite of the efforts by centrists to persuade their colleagues, only 7 Republican senators voted to convict, and 2 of which are our senators in Florida here. That should send a clear message to Democrats. If the GOP wouldn't vote to convict Trump, our policy agenda doesn't stand a chance of passing unless we kill the filibuster. You can help by adding your name to fix the Senate petition, and we will be dropping that in our chat. And you can help us continue to hold Joe Biden and Congress accountable by becoming an Our Revolution member. I can't stress that enough.
All right, well, thanks, Corinne. Let me continue with the 4-point plan. Number 2 in our 4-point plan is electing progressive champions. As our sister Nina Turner said, there is no rest on the justice journey, and 2021 isn't a year off for us. She also said something very inspiring last night or a couple of nights ago on a different call. She said, policy is my love language. Well, policy is our love language as well, and we are helping progressive candidates all across the country. There are hundreds of elections this year where we are supporting progressive candidates up and down the ballot. When you become a sustaining member, you'll be helping Our Revolution elect these candidates like Nina Turner in Ohio, Jackie Trainier in Illinois, and many, many others all around America. Number 3 is fighting for progressive policies. Last year, we won nearly 81% of our state and local ballot initiatives, like the Fight for 15 here in Florida, which was amazing, and paid family leave. This year, we are pushing on Biden, and we are asking him to fight for progressive policies like canceling student debt, declaring a climate emergency, and our local groups all across the country are doing amazing work. For example, we won a fracking fight in Ohio. We are passing and organizing for a right to counsel law for people facing evictions in Connecticut, and we are passing a ton of Medicare for All resolutions in municipalities all over New Jersey. And this is our work. We need you to support us so we can carry out more of this type of groundwork and grassroots organizing all across the country. So please sign up, volunteer, and please sign up, of course, to contribute to this work. $5 or more gets you a membership card and gets you to become a sustaining member of our movement. This is so important. Number 4 is building a progressive party, and with your contributions, we are able to carry out our unique work, transforming the Democratic Party. No other grassroots group is doing the type of transformational party building work that we are doing. We are the only grassroots group, progressive grassroots group on the ground that's actually deeply invested in changing the Democratic Party, making it more progressive, more representative to the needs of everyday people like you and all of you and I. This means that we are invested deeply in electing progressives to party leadership positions at the local level, at county committee level, at precinct captain level, up to electing DNC chairs everywhere in every state. So tonight you'll be hearing about some of this party building work and effort here in Florida, where our revolution endorsed hundreds of progressive candidates running in different districts, and we have some major wins, and we have a couple of guests here talking about that tonight. So again, our movement building work depends on you, helping us carry this work out. We are relying on you to help us strengthen our national network of progressive groups, such as the one group here in Florida, where I'm so happy to be part of some local, amazing local organizing with Corinne and Maruksa and others. We are hiring other organizers as well. It's so important that you help create these local teams, because change, as you well know, happens locally and happens from the bottom up. With that, I'll kick it back to Corinne.
Amazing. Thank you, Anna Marta. Also, one more time, we just want to encourage everyone on this. If you are on the phone, if you are watching on Facebook, or you are in our Zoom, please, we just encourage you to become a reoccurring donor. The programs that we're able to utilize with our revolution, we're so blessed to have this investment in Florida. So you can sign up at the link in the chat. For those that are on the phone, the membership link is rrev.us/2021 member. Again, that's rrev.us/2020 member. So that's going to bring us to our next portion, which is electing progressive champions. Our first guest tonight is Richie Floyd. I am so excited. He is a teacher, an organizer, and a candidate for St. Pete City Council, District 8. Richie, how are you this evening?
Great. Thanks so much for having me.
Awesome. We are so happy to have you. You are somebody that I was looking for good races in 2021, and you popped up into my, in my feed, and I'm so happy to have you here this evening. Do you want to just start out by kind of giving people a little bit of brief of like why you ran and who you are as a person and as a candidate?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Richie Floyd. I'm running for St. Petersburg City Council District 8. I am a middle school science teacher and a former engineer and an active political organizer, active in my community with a lot of different community organizations. And I'm running for city council because I want to make the city better. I want to make sure that the city is a place for everyone and not just those who can afford it. And so our campaign's focusing on a few things, particularly raising working standards within the city, raising wages. We won the $15 minimum wage here recently across the state, and I'm very proud of that. But I also think there's more we can do, more ways we can create living wage jobs within our city and across our state. Another thing that we're focusing on in the campaign is making sure that there's affordable housing, that the city's a place where everyone has a roof over their head, where families can afford housing, where people aren't stretched thin to try to just have a place to live, and really guarantee housing as a right. And then finally, we're trying to make sure development is benefiting everyone in the city and not just those at the top and not just luxury developments, but we want to make sure that all new development brings living wage jobs and affordable housing. And we want to make sure that that our development is climate beneficial as well. We're all in Florida, and St. Pete is on the peninsula of Florida. And so we're surrounded by water on three sides. I consider myself a relatively young person, and so I really am concerned with our future when it comes to emissions and resiliency. And so we're going to uplift that message as well in our campaign. And we're going to fight to make sure that the city does what it needs to do to protect the vulnerable and the young people and working people inside of our city. So that's what the campaign's about. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited to bring my grassroots organizing to a citywide campaign. And I'm excited to put the message of working people front and center across the entire city. And I'm really happy to be here today with everyone. And if anybody wants to check out more about the campaign, my website's just my name, richiefloyd.com.
Awesome. And we're like, that's just a beautiful intro. I love it. Everything you said is exactly why I saw your campaign. I was like, hello. But so, when you speak about these values, such as affordable housing, I'm sure you're a fan of the Green New Deal. And also, criminal reform, I guess, because there's no justice within it. But, it's like, what we saw one time that you actually tweeted in support for Fight for 15 and for raising the minimum wage. Why is this specifically a focus for your campaign? And this is interesting and important to me because I think that it is beyond, it's, we need to get past that, but that's the start, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of people like to say, no one working 40 hours a week should be living in poverty. And I absolutely agree with that. I'd take it a step further and say no one should live in poverty, period, not in the richest country in the world. And I think that $15 minimum wage is the first step to making sure that that's a reality. And so that's why I think it's so important. People shouldn't have to work for the starvation wages that exist now. And so that's why I think it's so important. And I fought hard for that. We helped hold coalition text banks for the $15 minimum wage. And I think we can bring some of that energy to the city campaigns as well and really create a model for cities across the entire state and across the South. And so we'll be fighting to raise working conditions and create living wage jobs all throughout the campaign.
And we love to hear it. And like, I'm going to go off cue a little bit because I'm so excited about how much activists you already have. Like you have mentioned to me that no one else has thrown their hat in the ring. Am I correct?
Yes, currently we are unopposed, but that could change any day.
But at the same time, your ground support. So can you talk just a little bit about how, because you're an activist and because you know what it takes to win elections, and also because you know those policies are true to you, how do you get people to get involved? How do you, to people out there that might be wondering if they can do this themselves, what would you say to that? And how do you create your grassroots campaign I guess?
Okay, yeah, I can speak to that. I think the easiest way for me to say this is to relate it to something that I know we all care about, and that this campaign's not about me, it's about us, easily. And so if you really believe that and you convince and you tell people like that's what the campaign's about and you live that in everything, it's easy to get people involved because you want people to see themselves as part of it. This isn't about just getting one person elected. Honestly, just getting one person elected isn't going to solve that many problems, but we can create a platform that'll get more people elected, that'll create a movement, that'll engage and create class consciousness for a lot of working people. And so what we want to do is really build a grassroots movement and not just one campaign. And I think that's a big deal as to why there are so many people that are interested in volunteering, is because they see that and they see that we're working not just to win one campaign, but we're working to actually make change regardless of outcome here.
And that's at all cost, and that's why, we are so excited, to be able to have you on this evening, for you to have made this time and for you running. It's hard to get out there and do this. And so we thank you, we honor you. And we also want to announce that we will be, as a state, endorsing Richie Floyd for St. Pete City Council. So everybody get ready to get to work. And so we encourage Richie for you to drop all your information in the chat. So if folks are wondering how they can get involved with your campaign directly, we want to be able to shoot that over to you. But we are so excited to just be able to endorse candidates that mean business, and they mean business for the good of everything. And so as a revolutionary to another, brother, I just thank you for, like I said, just running and everything that you're doing. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you all so much. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate the support.
Awesome. And so we're going to quickly see if we have any questions with Elizabeth from the chat for Richie before we let him,
The only question that I saw that came up is, what is the date of your election? And my question is, how can we help you? And so Corinne sort of covered that by putting your information in the chat. So.
Did you get the date? The primary is August 24th and the general is November 2nd.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Awesome. Again, thank you, Elizabeth. And thank you again, our future city councilor, Mr. Floyd. Thank you so much again for being on this evening.
Corinne, there is one question.
Okay.
Sorry, it just popped up. Richie, how are you different from Amy?
Amy is the incumbent, somebody I've worked with closely. I mean, I live in her district and I have been active in the city. Amy is term limited, so I'm not running against Amy. I'm running to succeed Amy. And she is a close, helpful person in the city. And I do have a lot of nice things to say about her, but she can't run again. So.
Well, that's wonderful.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's wonderful to hear that you're able to have, you stepped up to the plate. So again, thank you. That was a good question. So thank you. Like I said, future City Councilor Richie Floyd. And so we'll move on to the next part of our electing progressive champions, but we also want to talk about how we are going to boycott Publix. People are pursuing a boycott of the grocery chain Publix over donations to Julie Jenkins. She is said to have contributed money to the January 6th rally that preceded the Capitol riot, and isn't a Publix employee, however, is the heiress to the family's fortune. So we're just asking if you can, if you stand behind this, that, we have to hold capitalism by the wallet. And, if we don't agree with how corporations are spending their money, we need to stand by them. And there was actually, today I was happy to see that there was a fight for 15. I think there was a strike, a walkout. And I'm just, this is how we hold people accountable. So, we're going to go on to the next slide. Like I said, this is, we really hope that people take this seriously. It's gone even across state lines in solidarity with us. So if you can, and if you find it in your heart, please boycott Publix. It's been a long time coming. This is the final straw. So we're going to have Chad on this evening. And unfortunately, he had a not serious medical emergency, but we are wishing him well. He is one of those candidates that definitely, just like Richie, went to run and he won, and he has been, doing amazing things, and he couldn't be on this evening. So we are wishing him well, but we are also telling him to keep fighting for somebody you don't know, Commissioner Albritton. So we hope you feel better. And we're going to go to the next slide, which is actually our next guest, and she is Tallahassee City Commissioner Jack Porter, and Our Revolution endorsed candidate in 2022 and the youngest ever city commissioner. Welcome, Jack.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. It's so exciting to speak with you all. Some of you may have heard from me and a few others on this panel, I guess earlier in the year, maybe in the summer. We had a panel and it was a lot of fun. A little bit about myself. I am 28 years old. I filed at 26, won at 27, and was sworn in at 28. I am originally from Brazil, moved to Tallahassee from South Florida to attend Florida State University, and fell in love with Tallahassee and decided to stay. So I recently won my election to the city commission. And it really was a testament to people power and to grassroots organizing. I was up against an incumbent who was supported and endorsed by big money, by bundled developer money, by the Chamber of Commerce, by 4 out of 5 members of the city commission. She was endorsed. So it was an uphill battle. And honestly, had I thought it through, I don't know if I would have run, but I didn't think it through. I mean, I did think it through, but I didn't think about the chances. I thought about the stakes, and I thought about how important it was that the people have a representative who was really representing them. I was fortunate to run 2 years after a city commissioner, Jeremy Matlow, had been elected, who is a supporter of Our Revolution, a Bernie-crat, and he really paved the way, I would say, for, I think, the public's imagination to consider that something like this was possible, that someone like me could win. We were able to raise over $80,000, the limit being $250. I did not accept any money from lobbyists, from developers. from anyone who had business before the city. And that was definitely a contrast between me and my opponent. So I definitely want to encourage those of you who are listening, who are thinking, should I run, or should I really invest my time in this campaign, whether it's someone else, or just organizing in general, to do it, to go for it. This is something that I can honestly say I got into because of Bernie. In 2015, I began organizing, and I don't need to tell you how bleak it is at the state and federal level. And so, so I invested locally. I thought our cities are our last recourse, and I got involved and I served on boards. And I built relationships. And so I definitely, didn't come out of nowhere in that sense. I had put in the work, not because I wanted to run for office, but because I really wanted to connect and make a difference.
Yeah, you believed in the work already. So it goes hand in hand at that point. Like, you're like, okay, I guess this is the next step. And what happens is you end up having these groups and people and organizers, and I call them comrades, like where it's like your comrades in the fight. It's like you end up having these surroundings that uplift you, and they become your aides, they become your campaign managers, they become your allies, they become the people power behind the campaign, behind, you know what I mean? Like, it's like we all play a part in this, and it's so good to see you. I'm so happy that once you won your election, we had to get to work because Chad was in a
runoff.
And so I didn't feel like I cyberly was like, yay, but I was like, man, Jack, congratulations.
I get it. Yeah, I was very fortunate to have won my run without a runoff, to win outright. I got a rest, my volunteers got a rest, and then there were other races to focus on and to work on. And I can share that I worked successfully to elect to replace a Trump supporter on our county commission who had been a 15-year incumbent. So we were able to replace him, kind of using the same people power base that we had really utilized during my campaign. So the work is not in vain.
Oh, it is not. And we see that with you. And we see that with just how you are when you ran and how you are when, we're always grateful for candidates that come back to our calls, after they've won and after they've, it really shows something to me. So right now I know that you are doing a lot of work, you're getting to work, you were helping people, you rested, but you were still, flipping that seat, which is so important to continue to extend your abilities and stuff like that. But it's you were just telling me before this about what you're doing for the homeless communities in Tallahassee, and just making sure that you're taking, you're going a step above and beyond of what normal Call of Duty for this seat is, right?
Well, we're certainly trying, it's tough. And, as the former speaker said, we can't do it by ourselves. I cannot do it by myself. And so I've been fortunate to partner with Legal Aid Foundation and Legal Services. And I used my office budget to print a bunch of flyers and we're going door to door knocking, kind of using those organizing skills to let people know about their rights and the resources that are available to them to prevent eviction. And I heard it mentioned earlier, we're working on, my goals for Tallahassee are for it to be a place where housing is a human right, where right to counsel, where internet, public transit, all of that is a right. And so, we're doing everything we can, especially now with COVID, with things being so dire.
And that's the good part about when people like you get elected. And it's something that I saw with even Representative Anna Eskamani. She went out and did the same thing. It's like, it goes beyond the call of duty. It should be like you guys are public servants. So it's like it makes sense, but it's so wild because we haven't had that representation for so long. So it's so rare to find. And we want to continue to uplift you, and just like we're so happy that you're back. We know that we have a really hard battle in 2022. We do. And so movement building such as this and getting our people into places and helping the other people, it's like, and getting Republicans out, like Trump Republicans out of office at every level. And it's going to take a long time. So like we honor what work you have been doing, and we want to continue to work with you in these efforts. Just like I said, I'm just excited to be watching your career blossoming. And I think that I just think it's amazing. It's not me, us, like Richie said.
Absolutely. And thank you. And I'm here to support and help any way I can. And I don't know if Rep Eskamani is on the call, but she's definitely been an inspiration for me and a lot of us. And so hi. Yeah. So I didn't, so you've given me a lot of great ideas, and I think really set the example for a lot of us. And I hope you know that.
Oh, thanks, Jack. That's so kind. You inspire me to do what we do every single day. We're in this together. And I think that's what gives me, even on very long days, especially in Tallahassee, things are better in City Hall than in the state legislature.
I'm sure.
But it's knowing that we're together, and we have so many new people in this work, and folks who are just getting involved for the first time, and inspired by you, inspired by everyone here. That's what keeps me going.
Thank you.
Oh, I love it. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jack. And we're just going to switch real quick to another one of our, because we got to keep the, thank you so much.
Of course.
Thank you. We're going to switch real quick to our, we want to continue to keep you guys informed. And so something that's come up that has hit my radar like a ton of bricks with the Florida Rights Restoration Republican, it's SJR 854. Republican Senator Jeff, I can't pronounce the last name, introduced Senate Joint Bill Resolution 854 on January 27th of 2021, which was designed to amend the Constitution to reduce the minimum wage for prisoners, employees with felony convictions, and for employees under the age of 21. To become a part of the Constitution, the resolution would have to be passed by both houses for the Florida State Legislature and approved votes by 2022 general election. Republicans have a 78 to 42 majority lead in the Florida House of Representatives and a 24 to 16 majority in the Florida State Senate. This was done in reaction to us passing the Fight for 15 minimum wage. They did this when we passed Amendment 4 for the voter restoration. They tried to hit us every way we could. So we ask that you continue to stay involved, active, check our Facebook page, see what actions can be done, because we have to fight for this. This is a completely big, blatant in the face. It's just terrible. And so we just wanted to keep you guys aware of that. And so we'll get back with Anna, Miss Representative Anna Eskamani, if she's here.
Hi.
So thank you so much for being on. Everyone that doesn't know, Anna Eskamani is actually the representative of 47th District in the Florida House of Representatives. She's close to my home, and I think she is a patriot for every single person of Florida. You're definitely one of those people that continues to remind us in this very dark time, it's going to be okay. So thank you for coming on, Anna.
Oh, Corinne, that's so freaking kind. It's such an honor to join y'all. And I was not kidding when I told Jack, City Commissioner Porter, just how challenging, this state is and this work is, but just how much hope I get when I get to be in virtual spaces like this. Listening to Richie running for St. Pete City Council is incredible. And just the notion of, no person should be in poverty. It shouldn't be a radical concept, right? Like, this is the richest country in the world. There should be no one that is homeless right now. And everyone should have a sense of efficacy, know their value, know their worth, and not be exploited or neglected. We have the resources to make sure every person can have a roof over their head, able to access healthcare without any type of burden of cost or debt. And yeah, that's not the world that we have, right? And for those who don't know, as Corey mentioned, I am the State House representative for District 47, which encompasses downtown Orlando, the whole city of Orlando for the most part, except of course they gerrymandered out the majority minority parts of the city. This is drawn to be a swing seat. And it was a swing seat until we flipped it in 2018 and kept it in 2020. With that said, we also encompass Winter Park, Belle Isle, Edgewood, Pine Castle. There are some very deep red parts of my district, just parts that voted for Trump overwhelmingly. But I'm proud to say that 2 precincts that voted for Trump voted for us. And I think it also speaks to how a strong, authentic, and progressive message can cut through the bullshit and kind of get to the root core of why a lot of working people are exploited to vote for someone like Trump, because they're given a false sense of security, grounded in xenophobic rhetoric and this notions of, clean the swamp and drain the swamp. When the reality is that these are folks who are suffering and want to be heard, and they don't feel like Democrats care about them. They don't feel like typical politicians care about them. And to some degree, I can't blame voters who feel that way. The state of Florida is a prime example of just disappointing elected leaders and folks that are very much driven by their own sense of power versus realizing that power is to be built collectively. Power is a shared resource. It just depends who is using their power for the greater good and to build it and share it versus holding on to themselves. And so with that said, I come from super humble beginnings. I was born and raised in Orlando. I'm the daughter of working class people myself. My parents came from 2 different parts of Iran and met in Orlando working at the same donut shop. And my dad went to UCF as a waiter at the airport. He was raising 3 kids and getting a degree. He became an electrical engineer on the weekdays and worked at Walt Disney World as a customer service representative on the weekends. And my mom had a degree from Iran she couldn't use, so she worked at fast food restaurants and eventually at Kmart. And that was her last job before she passed away in 2004 when I was about 13 years old. So when we talk about the needs of everyday people, I know for me, and I'm sure it's the same for so many others, we're thinking about our own lived experiences, right? We're thinking about our own challenges with systematic oppression, the walls we faced, whether it was on economic lines or racial lines or both. I saw in the chat some of our volunteers and interns. Elizabeth is here. Elizabeth's one of our amazing interns that really connected with me over homelessness issues. Elizabeth was DMing me questions on Instagram about homelessness. And I was like, yeah, let's talk about it. And I'm really proud to say that, throughout this entire pandemic, our office has been working overtime in providing support to Floridians who are in desperate need of help. Majority of our caseload has been the unemployed, and we have provided support to over 20,000 Floridians across 64 counties.
Oh my, I'm going to stop you here. I'm like, I have a statistic. I'm like, go. And honestly, go all of you. Like, your whole team is amazing. I don't want to interrupt you. But I'm like, yes, like you definitely, and that's the thing is that's like I said, you were a shining star already. And I think that like through this pandemic, which was a very confusing time where, we were run by Republicans, where the Republican that didn't care about us, and disenfranchised voters everywhere voted for them. And I think that you and your staff and your diversity of issues and how you're willing to help people outside your district, and even just care on so many causes to so many different things where, like you said, homelessness, there's so many things that need to be done. But like, you've shined through and you guys have been working so well. So like, from a revolutionary to, rebel to a rebel, like good work.
I so appreciate that. And thank you for honoring our team. I just put in the chat a tabula for my data friends out there. One of our volunteers put together a public data illustration to help us keep track of our unemployment claims. Of course, not sharing personal information, but you can see with that link all the claims of data we had, their geographical location, when our peaks were along the timeline of when we started that escalation, that formal form, which I think started in the summer. And so it's been a ride, but it's impossible because of our team and our interns and our volunteers. Like this really, we basically became a mini DEO, Department of Eskamani opportunity, if you will. And so, we just worked overtime to do whatever we can and here's the deal is it wasn't just getting folks their benefits. We pay for things ourselves. I just got, while I was listening to our other speakers, I just responded 2 emails, one from a small business owner who has a client that if she doesn't come up with $437, her and her kid are going to be evicted on Friday, which to Jack Porter's point, there's some definite legal questions there. Like we have an eviction moratorium. You can't just keep people out, right? And so, we're going to figure that out with her. My other question was like, can I help pay for that? Because $437 should not be a reason why somebody is homeless. Like that's crazy. Like why are we in this world, right? And then the flip side, somebody else emailed me. They were able to pay their rent, but they need to get $1,400 by February 21st, or they're going to lose their car. The car will be repossessed, and because of their
how can you get around in Florida without a car? Like
how can you go to work?
Yeah, exactly.
How can you go to work? And this person, because of their high credit score, their car payments are higher than others. So we're punishing people that are literally trying to get back on their feet, right? Like it just does not make sense to me. So all of these systems are not only wicked problems, they were designed this way, right? They were designed to make it harder for someone to get back on their feet, for working class people to never actually be the owners of their wealth, right? To always be exploited for their labor. And so if we're going to see a path to victory in a state like Florida, I do think it's going to take a multi-class, multi-generational, and multiracial movement. And when folks ask me, is Florida a red state or a blue state? I always tell folks we're a rainbow state. Like we gotta win folks of every color, every stripe, every background, every economic class. And I'm so proud in our district, where my district is majority white. We are also home to a historic Black district, a Black community that was the labor that built Winter Park, Hannibal Square. We have a growing Latinx community. We have Asian American community. We have Little Saigon in my district. And again, this is a seat that was drawn to be a swing seat. But we've been successful in earning the support of those around us because we care about people and we show up for people, and we're not shy to say where we stand on issues that impact everyday people. And I think folks are really hungry for that. And my hope is we continue to build a bench of candidates who understand that and are committed to that and organize on the ground for that. And with redistricting coming up, it is all hands on deck, for this next election cycle. Candidly, I look towards sorts like states like Georgia, and I'm very inspired by that. We all know that in Georgia, it was a decade of just like consistent persistence, right? Organizing on the ground. And I really am concerned that, in Florida, that work is finally beginning, thanks to work like from our revolution and the Progressive Caucus and others that are, who understand the definition of power and want to build it from the grassroots up. But I do think it's going to take time. Like I really do feel like we're going to have to be looking at a long-term strategy in a state like Florida, because we have so much cleaning up to do in our own party as Democrats. And so I'll stop there. And I know I've spoken way too long already, but
we were listening, and that's okay. It's like things such as the governor, which you have not been any shy person to combat, which I appreciate, because or just you call out both sides. And honestly, I think that's why you are able to be an unapologetic progressive Democrat. Like, you're able to say what you feel, how you feel, stand by it. You reject corporate money. And it's like, if we continue with this kind of momentum at every level of government and just keep propelling forward, like, even though we did lose a lot of seats, we still won a lot of seats. We still won.
Right.
We still retained some of that power, like Monique Worrell, like, it's like there's these things that we have been able to do. And the fact is 15 and minimum passed.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm not convinced that like we over this next year leading up into the next, I feel oddly supportive of a couple races. I'm sure about.
I love it. And we should always like fight to win, right? No matter what.
Yes.
No matter what.
Organized to win. And so like, I want to talk real quick because this is something that is huge on my heart about House Bill 1.
Right.
Dr. Sanchez, you remember when we were like, this is propaganda. This is so weird. This is so far out. Like, is this really happening? Can this actually happen? And it was right.
Now it's here.
Yes, I was arrested during that. Like the first statewide protest we had, I was arrested for resisting. It was like a paradox in my head. It was just like, how does this happen? Like, it's just so weird,
Right.
So could you because you were one of the first people that I saw that, was able to get together with some of your colleagues to oppose it and to just kind of dive into it. It's like, how would you tell the rebellion to keep hope with such a fascist bill?
Right. Well, and I really appreciate Mike's question too. How worried should we be about the chance for HB1? We should be worried. I mean, here's the dynamic that we are in right now. Like the blunt truth, right? The governor feels emboldened by Florida's swing to President Trump, like without a doubt. He feels like he can do no wrong in the face of his supporters. And the sad part is, and you can always take polling for what it is, right? It's been wrong a lot, but polling that came out today demonstrates that the governor's approval rating is surprisingly high, especially compared to other governors in other parts of the country. And it sets the stage where we're dealing with not only a fascist governor, but someone who wants to run for president in 2024 and thinks his path to victory, both in 2022 and in 2024, is going to the right, is going to become Trump 2.0, basically. So we're dealing with someone that has zero empathy, who, is backed by mega corporations, publics included, has raised already millions of dollars towards his next campaign, and isn't experiencing any consequences for his decisions, right? Like everything he's doing, he's getting like kudos for.
And responsibility for things that are happening in real time. Like, it's like, it's a twofold almost.
Right. 100%. And so House Bill 1 is one of his priority bills because it checks off the boxes he wants to check, right? And please remember, the governor has done this every single legislative session on different issues that target people that look like us. So his first 2 years in office, my first two sessions, it was attacking immigrants. We had the Sanctuary City ban legislation. We had the E-Verify legislation. So literally immigrants were the scapegoats, which is so freaking ironic because not just 7 years ago, the Republican-controlled legislature was passing in-state tuition for Dreamers and driver's licenses for Dreamers. So you saw this original intention of trying to appeal to some communities of color swing in the complete opposite direction after Trump was elected towards attacking those communities and pushing forward with xenophobic and fascist policies. So you fast forward to today, and not only is it a House Bill 1, y'all, but it's also the big tech bills. And, oh my God, I cannot stand big tech. If you want to really get at big tech, pass tax policy that forces them to pay their taxes in Florida. That's the best, trust me, they will feel that pain. It's the best way. I mean, break them up, right? Like break them up, but also make them pay their taxes. But anyways, But, so he's pursuing all these like Trump-like policies, right? And again, it's not because he like loves Trump, it's because he sees a path to victory for himself along those lines. So yes, we should be worried. Yes, we need to organize, what you can do. I mean, obviously you should be watching this bill. It already had one hearing in the Florida House. It has not been scheduled in the Senate yet. And candidly, the reason why I think we should be worried is because Senate President Wilton Simpson originally did not like this bill at all. When the governor did his press conference back in September, it was pretty much dead on arrival in the Senate because of the dislike towards the bill vision back then. It is not the same, right? It is different, still bad, but it is different. And the fact that it was still filed tells me that a compromise was met between the chambers and the governor's office. And so this is the version that everyone seems comfortable with from leadership perspective, right? So we got to fight like hell. And, when this bill gets its first agenda in the Senate, which by the way, it's going to be potentially a Democratic chair that agendas it, you got to be all hands on deck. Hold that Democrat accountable. Hold everyone accountable.
I was just going to say, hold them all accountable.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and
don't give any grace for that. It's inappropriate to agenda a bill, and when you're in a position of power, we don't have to.
Right, and that's why all of us, thank you so much, Representative. Like, you are so amazing, Anna. Like, you're a sweetheart, and you're also just a very hard worker, and it shows. And your team is wonderful. And just keep us in mind, and let us know what news you have, and we'll be following you. And we saw your Valentines, and we also saw a Valentine that was graphicked for governor. So anyways,
Corinne,
yeah.
Corinne, it's Elizabeth. We do have one question from Raisa in Miami. She's concerned about the new legislation on vote by mail that has been introduced. Do you have an update about that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Elizabeth and Raisa. So this is a bill filed by Senator Dennis Baxley that would essentially require vote by mail registration to take place every single election versus the version today where you get to apply for vote by mail for future elections. And so it was just filed. I don't think I saw a House sponsor yet, but I did not check on it. I did not check today, so I could be wrong, but I don't think I saw a House sponsor. It is an unbelievable concept. It is a typical of Senate Republicans to continue to push for voter suppression tactics. Dennis Baxley is not a leadership senator. Like, he's not in leadership. So that makes me feel like it might not be a priority, but at the same time, we should definitely be tracking this bill. And if it does get agenda'd, make some noise and call it out for what it is. And that's a tactic of voter suppression. There have been absolutely no problems in Florida with vote by mail at all. If anything, we're a model state to follow in how we do it. And the governor bragged about that. So if anything, you can use the governor bragging about how good elections went in Florida to hold these Republicans accountable to trying to make the system worse. Great question. Let's keep an eye on it.
Well, we will follow you. She's great on social media. Follow Our Revolution Florida too. We will keep an eye on these bills. Thank you for asking that question. And thank you, Anna, for being on again. We hope to see you back soon. And just thank you for all the hard work. I wanted to take a second and just actually shout out to 7 contributions so far that have actually became Our Revolution card-carrying revolutionaries. Leslie, Dustin, Louise, Valerie, Carmen, Elizabeth, and Stacy. And so Jennifer, also an Ambergy. So wow, this is amazing. And we have to continue to organize to win and support candidates, not even candidates, people, movement makers. And so thank you, Representative Anna Eskamani, so much. You are such a powerhouse, and we love all the people that were on this evening. Just really show us that change never starts from the top, it starts from the bottom. So thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all. Talk to you soon. Be safe.
Thanks. So Our Revolution is the only group that is fighting to transform the Democratic Party from the inside out. You can help us drive this unique mission for as little as $5 a month. We're going to put the link in the chat. And we actually want to move on to our next guest, who is Nadia Ahmad. And she is amazing. She's a good friend of mine, but she is also a lawyer. She is a law student, law professor. She was my Bernie 2020 delegate. She continued to work with the Muslim delegates for Biden, to continue to work for the Georgia runoffs. Welcome, Nadia.
Thank you so much for having me here, Corinne. Thank you.
Welcome. It's always good to have you. So let's get right to it. You are now newly elected to the DNC. We got some good progressives in the DNC this year. How do we win in 2022? How do we deal with the broken party we have, and how are we going to win in 2022? Nadia, give us the deets.
Well, for us, we need to think that being Democrats and voting for Democrats shouldn't be like rooting for a sports team and wearing team colors. We need to stay focused on the issues and not just the candidates. And as progressives, we really have to push to get big money out of politics so we can elect candidates like future city council member Richie Floyd, and candidates we have already elected like Commissioner Chad Albritton, Commissioner Jack Porter, as well as Representative Eskamani. And the way to do that is to really ban all corporate contributions to the Democratic Party convention and similar committees, and to really abolish the Federal Election Commission and replace it with a Federal Election Administration. These were some of the agenda items that Senator Bernie Sanders had proposed in his presidential platform. The chairman of the board of Our Revolution, Larry Cohen, had said that there's possibility of getting more candidates like Congressman Jamal Bowman elected, but that's only if we can change the rules and have reform within the party. And that's what I think we really need to set out doing, is to really change the rules that they become more democratic. And one of the ways to do that is that one-party districts are almost certain to elect Democrats given the district's party registration and voting history. So the primary for the election is what really counts. And so corporate and other really big money interests all focus on Democratic candidates in those races. And so what that does is it results in having very moderate Democrats elected. Right. So last year, New York moved to cut off the date to join the party from 6 months to 2 months, and that made a big difference in the election there. And those are the types of reforms that we need.
Yeah, and so Nadia, I hope that we can get you for every single, I wish we could always have like a Nadia update, because weren't you quickly, I just want to shout you out because I know you were amongst the 170 something attorneys that were right with the conviction of Trump or the impeachment?
Yes, I joined a letter with over close to almost 200 different legal scholars. And what we had said is that we were asserting that the First Amendment, which was really meant to protect citizens from government limiting their free speech and other rights, really had no place in an impeachment trial. And that senators were not determining whether Trump's conduct was criminal, but whether it sufficiently violated the oath of office to warrant conviction and potential disqualification from holding future office.
And that is something that we are so happy to have you with Our Revolution and working next to you, Nadia. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, your effort. You do unthinkable things and you do it with grace. So thank you so much for being on and giving us that update, like how we're going to win this in 2022. Everyone follow Nadia. Stay involved in what she's doing. You won't want to miss it. And thank you so much for stopping by this evening.
Thank you.
Awesome. And like I said, don't forget, Fight for 15. Like I said before, we still have that bill that is going to try, we had a victory. So we organize to win, and then we keep organizing. So Fight for 15, we won that, but we have to keep working, guys. I know the work doesn't stop, but that's okay. Hello, somebody. We have an incredible opportunity to send our very own Nina Turner to Congress this year. Our Revolution Ohio is going all out to make sure Nina wins her special election and joins the squad. Help them by signing up to Phone Bank. We will drop the link in the chat. And then also our Revolution has joined Stacey Abrams in endorsing Louisiana State Senator Karen Carter Peterson in her race to represent Louisiana's 2nd District in Congress. Karen election is March 20th. Sign up at the link in the chat to volunteer. And we also, one more time, want to drive it home. When you become a member, when you become a sustaining member of our Revolution, you help us continue to support and elect progressive champions. And you can join for as little as $5 a month. Use the link in the chat to sign up. And we have some upcoming calls that we want to make sure we want to keep it under an hour just to make sure we're respectful of everyone's time. DC statehood call that's coming up on Wednesday at 7 p.m. And then we also have the Our Revolution New Jersey call, which is honoring Black History Month by organizing to end systematic racism. This call is on Saturday at 10 a.m. and with exciting speakers, former Bernie national surrogates, and others. So, just don't leave it with Florida. Don't leave it just local, get where you can in the movement. And there's room for everyone. It's not me, it's us, it's all of us. That's what Bernie said. So thank you for joining us tonight on this call. And a special thanks to all our volunteers, everyone that made this call happen. Before the end of the call, we always do our chant, like when we organize, we win. And I just, like I said, I thank you so much. I'm so surprised we're actually off on the hour. But like I said, get involved, stay intact with us and let's keep moving forward. And this year's going to be hard, but I think we can all do it. So have a good night, everybody. And thank you so much to all our speakers and to Our Revolution National and to every grassroots organizer out there. Thank you so much.
When we organize, we win. One more time. When we organize, unmute your microphone. When we organize, we win. Good night, everyone. Thank you, Florida.